Told you we'd see you next Tuesday.
Welcome back to Rants and Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at Chupacabra by Steve Jackson Games.
Now this is a relatively new game made by them. This one here is another dice game. Now don't be confused though, it is nothing like the ones they already released. This game is very unique and very interesting. Unfortunately though, it is only playable up to 4 players, and the reason being is that every player starts the game with 6 dice. Now you could do the math yourself, or I could just simply tell you that means there are 24 dice in the tube. So you literally cannot play with more than 4 players. However, you can play with as low as 2 players. That being considered, I mean, hypothetically you might be able to buy another tube and play with 8, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, we're just going to jump into how the game works, and so we're just going to go and I'll show you how the dice we rolled turned out. Now, it's important to note that the player basically who makes the best Chupacabra sound, or basically the player who won last round, gets to go first. That being considered, we're just going to hypothetically pretend that I got the best hand. Did the best noise. Looking at the dice as they're rolled, the ones on the left are mine, the ones on the right are Frank's. If you see, Frank has rolled goats, steer, and chicken. Now, whenever you roll, you want to immediately group your herds. These are because dice are safer in herds from Chupacabra. For instance, to be able to take out an animal, you have to be able to take out the whole herd at a ratio based on what the animal is. So, for instance, the steer would cost 2 Chupacabra to take 1.
1 for each horn.
Exactly, that's a good way to put it. And then the goats would require 1 per goat in the herd. So, for instance, Frank's amount of goat would require 3 Chupacabras to take. Now, it gets a little bit tricky with the chickens. Chickens have 2 different sides. They have a 2 side where they have 2 chickens per die, and they have ones that are basically 1. Now, a Chupacabra can take up to 2 chickens per Chupacabra dice. That is a major bonus for the Chupacabra, to be able to take 2 dice with just 1. Now, hypothetically speaking, if I was on my turn to go first, I would play my dice to attack. So I would use these 3 dice to take out his 3 goat. These dice now leave the table. They cannot be affected this round. Then I would take my 1 Chupacabra and take his 2 goats.
Because this one was my Chupacabra, not Eric's.
So now we're left with these dice on the table when it passes to Frank's turn. If I did not roll any Chupacabra, I'd have to pass my turn to Frank. Mm-hmm. Now on Frank's turn, he can spend his Chupacabra. Now he can't take my stag because he would require 2. However, he can use his to take my sheep. My goat, my chickens.
Chickens.
Yeah, my chickens.
Yes.
Chickens, I said chickens.
Those are called chickens.
You can use his Chupacabra to take my chickens.
Yes.
That being done, the round is now over.
And all that's left is complete bull.
So you would take your die, the die you played, and the die that you have stolen, and this becomes your new hand for the next game.
Eric's. Mine. Frank's.
The way the game ends is when players have taken all the dice from the other players. If you've got no dice, you're basically out of the game at the end of that round, and then if there's more players up to 4, you're down to those players left until they have no dice.
Correct.
Now, it's important to note that there is a really cool feature in this game called Chupa Loco. And this allows you that if you have, say for instance, 3 dice and roll 3 Chupacabra, you can take any full herd, no matter what it is, with those dice. So if I had rolled 5 steer, he could use those 3 Chupacabras to take all 5 of those steers, regardless of the ratio. But he can only take 1 herd.
Because they've gone Chupa Loco.
That's right. Now this game is a pretty good family game, and it's pretty straightforward. But I'm not going to play all the way through because, frankly, it's a lot of luck. So I'm not going to waste your time watching the whole gameplay.
Yes.
So I think what we'll do is we'll go straight into what we think of the game. We'll start with Frank.
This is probably the first game we played really that I truly think, in my opinion, belongs in somebody else's collection. It is not my kind of game. It is a game that I would buy as a gift for somebody. I like the concept of the game, but for me, it's just way, way, way too much luck, and the game for me kind of plays itself when I roll Chupacabra. It's like, oh, obviously I'll take this one. Obviously this happens. Obviously this happens. Now I could be completely wrong about that, but yeah, Chupacabra belongs to somebody else's collection. I'm not going to say it's a bad game. It's just not a good game for me.
So Chupacabra is actually just a really simple dice game, and my family loved it. It was easy to play. It wasn't exactly a game that my wife would play over and over again, but it was a game that she had no problems playing, that my stepson loved. So this game does belong in my collection. It is in my collection, and I'd highly recommend it for families' collections, for people who like dice games. If you want to play a quick game that you can do like on the floor at a convention floor, this game is it. It's a little bit smaller though. It's unlike zombie dice where you're limited only by how many people can fit at a table. If you want to, this game is basically limited to 4. So hopefully you liked our wrap up of the game, and hopefully for my sake, I hope you go out there and purchase some of them because they are lots of fun. On top of it, I would say one of the really cool features that I didn't mention, that Frank didn't mention, is that these dice do glow in the dark. So,
Which we might show in the video.
no,
We aren't doing the video.
I'm not turning the lights off here with Frank. Are you kidding me? Look at him. See you next week.
See you next